recent study says that nearly 60% of young people, they have little or no meaning to their lives.
Whoever loves pleasure is dead while they live. A lot of the issues that people were having had much to do not about the presenting problem. It wasn't necessarily the depression they were feeling or the anxiety they were feeling or the relationship issue. It was how they were feeling about themselves. Something about instantaneous pleasure, instant gratification, it dulls you. With all of the ways that people can be connected, young people are more disconnected now than ever. This is how God made you to be. This is your birthright. Now live that way.
So Mike, tell me about yourself, like what do you do and like how do you help people and stuff?
Yes, so I'm a licensed professional counselor and I got a lot of my training doing family based therapy. So, family based therapy is when there's a child in the home that has some type of behavior that's just so just dangerous that they're at risk of being placed out the home, maybe incarcerated, maybe put into a mental hospital, and nothing's working, no system. So they have to bring in a team of therapists to come in and do family therapy for about 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
And that's where I got my foundation doing that work. And from there, I just developed a love and a fascination with people, systems. And I've been doing work now here, doing this work for like over past 20 years.
Oh wow, that's
And
a
yeah, I love to do it. I also coach men. I
Mhm.
have a passion for helping men through some of their issues and my background as a pastor and just helping men to grow and being effective. So those are my passions is working with couples and families and men's issues.
Okay, so when you say you help men and all, like it's like a life coaching, like growth kind of.
Yes, life coaching and growth because what I was realizing after doing therapy for many years is a lot of the issues that people were having had much to do not about the presenting problem. It wasn't necessarily the depression they were feeling or the anxiety they were feeling or the relationship issue. It was how they were feeling about themselves.
Mhm.
So, and realizing that, trying to help people be a better version of themselves, that became a more successful path and effective path. And it gives insight into how I help couples, but become a better version of themselves internally was able to leapfrog them past the depression or the anxiety. And so instead
Okay.
of taking a route of how do we talk about your depression, how do we understand your anxiety, we were able to make a lot more growth when we helped them get to being proud of themselves.
Not many people like, because they say men are like they cannot show emotion, they cannot cry and
Yeah.
stuff, but that's not true because they are humans too and they
Mm-hmm.
have feelings and they need someone to talk to. And people like you are actually like doing like a really good job, like God's work, because
Mm.
that's very underrated and not many people like realize that people like you exist because they don't know where to go, how to contact you guys, or not even like how to look for you guys.
Yeah.
So that's a really.
It's a little different is that usually when I have a new client, I always tell them my goal is to get myself out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm seeing you ongoing
Mm-hmm.
week after week or bi-weekly for a year, there's something that I'm not doing. Something's not happening, right? So my goal is you should be able to get to where you need to within a month to 2 3 months in terms of your mindset, and then
Okay.
from there, everything else. Because I'm really just teaching you. It's that mentality of teaching someone how to fish as opposed to fishing for them, and that's the coaching side of the therapy work that I do.
Okay.
So, yes, I'm a therapist, but I will function and feel more like a coach. And when we get to clinical issues, I'll address them as needed, but we move more towards the coaching side of it, which is why they're able to have a lot more rapid change and why men usually respond very well to the format that I take.
Okay. Okay. So basically, to my knowledge, therapy is something that is about past, that what happened in your
Yes.
past and how to address that, accept that,
Mhm.
realize that happened, and move forward. But the life coaching you're talking about is like the future side.
Yes, it's the present and the future. What can you do right now to make a difference tomorrow? What's the smallest first step you can do that's going to make a difference in your life? A lot of times people don't think that. I want to ask them a question like, okay, tell me what you would want to, what do you want for your life in 2 years from now,
Mm.
5 years from now? Tell me, how much do you want to make? What do you want to look like? Who's in your circle? Where do you live? A lot of times we're not even thinking that because we're so overwhelmed with the clinical therapy issues
Yep.
of depression and anxiety and all of these things. And I'm bipolar or I have ADHD. No, you're more than that. So
Yes.
having people see that those are just labels, but you're more than that, and you can actually progress. Change is rapid. I mean, it is. There's a modality called a solution focused brief therapy.
Okay.
Okay, it is an interesting therapeutic model. Have you heard of solution focused brief therapy?
Not before.
So you've heard of cognitive behavioral
Yes.
therapy,
CBT.
okay,
Yes.
CBT. So basically, some guys in the 1970s realized if we start to talk to people about their strengths, they make this phenomenal change very quickly. Like if we don't go to what happened back then, what happened in your past, and we focus on your strength, that clients have a accelerated rate of improvement.
Hmm.
Okay. They didn't have a theory in their mind and then try to do it. They just watch from observation. Some therapists who might not even been that well trained, when they tend to be more focused on what they're good at, what the client does well, what they've done well in the past, when they had that kind of flavor, they noticed that clients were making improvements very quickly. So they
Okay.
targeted that and they honed it in and came up with a style called solution focused brief therapy.
Oh, very
That
interesting.
was something that when I was doing family based, I got very intrigued in and started applying that alongside the model I was using to work with families. And I was seeing a lot of progress with families.
Hmm.
So the approach that I take is a hybrid of that, but the engine of it is a lot of the principles in solution focused brief therapy. A lot of those principles that help people to be able to see what the issue is and move forward fast. And they may not even know the depths of it. They may not even understand, is it because mom did this or dad did that or older brother or older sister, or I don't necessarily understand that, but I do understand what I need to do, and I can make a
Mm.
change.
Yep. Yep. If you know what you like, if the person that's coming to you and he knows that this happened and they are clinging to the past, saying that, oh, this happened, this is the reason I am,
Yes.
you are changing that mindset to like, you don't need to like associate that with your identity and make you your identity.
Hmm.
You can always change from this moment. You just need to make the action, put the effort,
Absolutely.
and that's what you're trying to do.
Yes.
The present and the future, that's what
Yes.
you're trying to like transform the mindset of the people.
Absolutely. And the clinical part that I offer comes in. There are times where we need to slow down and take a look at the past and do some real clinical work. So, because I'm trained as a therapist, when that's appropriate, I can do that. But I know how to pivot off of that again and go right back to where we need to be. Because if we just stay there, that's not the specialty I see for how people have rapid change. That's not. I find that the approach that I take is more fruitful. Realizing when I need to go clinical and then move off of that, and we go back to the coaching
Oh,
style.
that's a very like hybrid kind of model that you're
Yes.
using, because I saw, basically I have like friends who go to therapy and stuff, but I always say like therapy is like a slow process and it takes time.
Hmm.
And if you are like thinking about accepting those things, you can talk about this your whole life, like 10 years, 5 years,
Hmm.
but that past is not going to change forever.
Correct.
But the point you can do is like make a point saying that, okay, from today I'm going to put a little bit of action
Hmm.
and put some effort to change my future.
Yes.
That's where you are focusing more on.
Yes.
And as you said, like your clinical expertise or your licensed professional says that you have to deal with the past, but you know when and where to like pivot to the future side, to give them like a, how should I say, to give them like a more positive outlook on the future.
Correct.
Oh,
It is
that's
a
very
hybrid
interesting.
approach.
That's very interesting.
Definitely a hybrid approach, and it's been rewarding. And usually, so the couples that come to me, I'm very selective with them. They are people who are in a crisis situation. We're about to get a divorce. We have a child. We have 3 children, and this is about to end. We don't want it to end. They don't have time for a 6 to 12 month therapeutic process.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Maybe if they would have started earlier and they were building up some skills, they could have done that. But they need something quickly. They need to know within the next couple of weeks, we're going to see a shift. And we can take that shift and ride the momentum.
Oh wow, that's amazing,
Yes.
because people these days at this point everyone want instant. They can't
Hmm.
wait like, okay, it's gonna take 1 year, I'm not gonna do it. Even
Hmm.
though they try, they're gonna slack and like stop after a month or
Hmm.
two. because no one has that much capability or like time in this world with all the social media and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's very good. Like I want people to know, my users and stuff to know like people like you exist, and I leave the details of Mike here so that you can like contact him and like talk to him, and he can help you like get that rapid change and change your life very fast.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so coming to the thing, I have some statistics about what's happening in this current world.
Sure.
So I would say recent study says that nearly 60% of young people, they have little or no meaning to their lives.
Mm.
So they have got access to opportunity, comfort, like plethora of things that they can do with the social media, tools, AI, everything. But they don't have the framework like what to apply, where to start, like how to choose my goal.
Hmm.
What do you think? What do you have to say about that?
It comes down to one main thing that children are dealing with, adults are dealing with, and the reason why they're stuck is purpose.
Okay.
When someone doesn't have a vision of what they want to do, what do I want? What do I want to be? There's where do you plan from? Where do you have goals from? A lot of people are just reacting to life. Life is happening to them and they don't know how to cope with it. So when you have purpose, the opposite happens. You happen to life. You know,
Correct.
when you have a goal, when you have an agenda, when you know what you want to do next year or 3 years from now, you now structure life. I know the kind of place I need to be. I know the kind of person I'm looking for. I know I need to do with my free time here. I know I need to eat because you have a vision. There's a scripture that says, without vision, the people perish.
Mm-hmm.
I think with all the the technology and the social media, people have lost vision. Instead, what a lot of times happen is people can become their vision becomes watching other people. So through social media, we're watching other people progress. We're watching other people's lives, right? I
Right.
don't know how old you are, but years ago when the Real World came out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was this new kind of thing where we're watching these strangers live together for however long, and it was interesting. It was just it wasn't staged per se, but we're watching these strangers come together and have conflict, and we found ourselves addicted to watching their
Yes.
lives.
Yes.
Okay, and that's only expanded. So a lot of these teens are used to watching everyone else's status update. Everyone else is like, where did you go? What did you do? What did you eat? And they come to realize, where's my goal? So when they get to a place, by the time they come to me, is that life is happening to them, the depression, the anxiety, the stress, the burden, the confusion, and they don't know where to turn. And it's like, let's look inward.
That's the approach or the outlook that people need to look. That perspective has to change. Like we are so engaged in to see what other people are doing,
Yes,
we are like forgetting that our life is like missing out in that time.
we do. You know, a common question I'll ask people is, let's suppose that tonight you go to bed, and in the middle of the night, whatever problem it is that brought you to me, whatever issue it is that's bothering you, is gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's erased, miraculously healed. What does life look like tomorrow? How do you know when you wake up the problem's gone?
Mm.
What's different about your life? What are you thinking? What are you doing? Where are you going? Who are you talking to? And surprisingly, a lot of people struggle to answer that question
Yes.
because they've never given thought about what it could look like. They're always thinking about, well, what's happening? This is happening to me, and that's happening to me, and this person's doing that. It's like, what do you want? What do you see? And it's this amazing gift that we have as human beings is when we start to use our imagination towards that goal, we start to have purpose and we move forward. We do this already, you know. We do this already. We use our imagination, but we do it in a twisted way with fear.
Yeah.
And all fear is we're taking our imagination and we're imagining an outcome that we don't want.
Negative outcomes.
We're imagining a negative outcome. We're taking that negative outcome that hasn't even happened and we're bringing it into the present. We're bringing the feelings into the present and we're living from that. And so much disorder, whatever you want to call it, comes from that place.
Correct.
Okay. So we're not trained to think about what could it look like. I say, well, what do you want to do? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Okay. What would you want instead? I don't know. So that's what we build.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, it doesn't take long. When you have someone who's trained to do it, it doesn't take long to do. But once you get that going, It's no longer a matter of discipline anymore. You know, we take fitness. A lot of times people are struggling, and I can't go to the gym, I can't eat this. Like they're trying to act on discipline. When you act on identity, then it's no longer discipline.
Yes,
It's just natural,
correct.
right? If you talk to someone who's very successful with finances and investment, it's natural for them to do what they do. That's who they are. It just flows out of them. You talk to someone who's very fit, they don't force themselves to go to the gym. It's natural for them.
They
Okay?
want to go to
They
the gym.
want to go. Okay? Successful and doing interviews, nobody forces you. You want to. Like,
Yes.
how do you have the discipline to reach out to this person and to set the interviews? And it comes out of you. When
Hmm.
you change the identity, when you have the vision and the identity set up, it starts to flow out of you.
Exactly. Like if I thought like, oh, what does the other person think? Like if I ask them, can you do the interview for me? Or like, and if
Mm-hmm.
he says no, what happens? I don't want to take it out. Like those are all things happen. I have
Yeah.
my moments too. Not gonna lie, but I keep moving forward because
Mm-hmm.
it's their choice at the end of the day. But if he does, that's a bonus for him and bonus for us.
Yes.
So it's like a thing. If you stop, you're not gonna get anything. If
Mm-hmm.
you at least try, you're gonna get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And life, I think life's the same thing too. If you're gonna keep thinking or reacting to like, okay, a situation happened to me and I have to like make shift, do something and cut corners and settle that situation for now, but it's gonna happen again in a
Mm-hmm.
different way, in a different form.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not addressing the underlying identity issue that you are
Yes.
having, that a person is having, that that situation keep
Keeps
coming in a
coming.
different way.
Yes.
That's very good, that's very
Yes.
good.
Identity is important. It happens sometimes so organically. Like you already see yourself as this is me. I interview that. This happens. So as your success continues to take place, someone may look and say, "Well, how did he become so successful? This is a coincidence that this happened. He met this person. He met the right person that hooked him up. That's a coincidence." No, it's providence because you already set your compass. You set your imagination and your focus to where you want to go. So now things just open up. The right people come. Things start to feel natural, but you had to do the inward work. And when you have your struggles, like we all do, the discipline is changing the mind. Let me slow down. Let me
Mm.
think the right. Like this doesn't happen. I'll trying to find a way to deal with this rejection in this way because I'm looking forward towards this goal. And it really starts there. I know it seems like I'm oversimplifying, but a lot of it comes down to having someone trained work through those particular areas where someone's struggling.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
and it happens very quickly. I mean,
Yep, yep, it does.
man.
But yeah, same thing for me. When I started my journey, I had like an idea. I was like looking at the podcast, listening to things. Then I was like, okay, what if, because someone asked me like, what do you do? Like some random stranger. We were talking and met at a place and we were talking and he was like, what do you do? What's your story? And I was like, I started telling and I asked them and they started telling. Oh, you have a really interesting story. Why
Mm,
are you not so famous or something? And they were like, just like you. They were like, I don't know. No one talked to me. No one asked me this question before. Then I was
mm,
like, okay, maybe a common person has a story that we can listen to. Maybe he's successful in his own
mm,
perspective. Success is not just money, getting popular,
mhm,
or getting like $1 million company.
mhm,
Success is to a person in a different way. Like he has a nice family,
mhm.
he's doing his job, he's getting like good money, and he's going on vacations with family, spending time with the kids. That's success for him.
Yeah,
So success is very a thing that you could mold into what you want rather than a definition in dictionary.
yeah. Well, you're describing something I like to call peace because peace doesn't mean that you need to have an island that you own and you need to have these amount of cars or this amount of celebrity status. And there are many people who've achieved these things. They don't have peace. A lot of my clientele are very successful people. They don't have peace.
Mhm.
And again, peace happens when you align with who you are.
Right.
And you can find peace anywhere. You can go to a prison and find someone who's discovered peace, and they're more free than the guards who are coming to them every day
Correct.
because they finally found alignment with who they are.
Wow.
And so,
Wow.
any place you go, I heard someone say one time, wealth is not what you could afford to have, it's what you could afford to live without,
Right.
right? I've realized that I don't need I've learned how to be peaceful in whatever state, whatever, a lot, a little, I've learned. And that's really what people are asking for. Jim Carrey, Jim Carrey, the
I know.
actor,
Yeah,
Mask and
a big
Living
fan.
Color, great guy, I love him. But he talks about this because he says, I wish everybody were to become successful and popular and get millions of dollars so they can see how it's not rewarding, how it's not all there is. He struggled with depression for so long. He just this same concept. The sitcom Friends, a hit sitcom in the
Mm-hmm.
90s, all
Mm-hmm.
right? One of the main characters, I think Matthew Perry, I think his
Chandler
name was.
Bing, yeah, Matthew Perry.
He talks about this concept. He was a struggling actor. He gets selected to do Friends, and finally he goes from struggling financially to having this beautiful multi-million-dollar house with these pools and everything. And after a while, he's like, "This is great, but like, what now?" Right? So
Right.
peace, what you're talking about, and you're like, I just want to interview people who have peace, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to look like what the world tells you it's supposed to look like. It can look like anything.
Any? Mm, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. Like I was reading a book, The Man's Search for Meaning by
Mm.
Viktor Frankl.
Okay.
He mentioned some of the thing because he was in one of the, what is that, the genocide thing in the camps, the Hitler
Okay. Oh,
camps.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was thinking like,
Concentration camps. Yeah.
the concentration camps, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah, he was looking at people there. He said that the meaning people were looking because they were in the concentration camp. That's the lowest and the saddest and the more depressed thing that anything can happen to a person. But people had hope that they would come out of that,
Mm.
and that was driving the person. That was driving the person to live every day, giving
Mm.
a little bit of hope that okay, one day I'll get out.
Yeah.
I just need to live this day. Even though the situations was horrible, they were not getting food and stuff, they were not healthy, but still they were like, one day I'll get out and have a good life.
Yes.
And he was, after, at the end of the book, he mentions that uh, meaning would drive, meaning and hope would drive a person who is in the deepest pit, but without a meaning, a person in $1 million home cannot have peace
Correct.
without a meaning or a purpose. Like, what now? Like you were telling about the
Yes.
Matthew Perry, if he did not have like what next kind of thing or vision about his life, he doesn't know what's gonna happen next, and you're like, okay, what am I gonna do with all the money?
Well, Jesus said that what is it profit of man to gain the whole world and to forfeit his soul?
Wow.
And now, one of the things you talk about and say, well, he's talking about them dying and going to eternal punishment. But I also think he's speaking about there is a type of success someone can have as they're becoming someone they don't want to be,
Right.
right? And that happens so often, and people they don't like who they are. I don't like me. I don't like the things about me. But you have so much, and look where you live, and look how much money you have, and look at the person you're with, and yeah, I get all that, but I'm not happy. I don't
Yes.
have peace, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it is a very, very powerful concept. And I think that is my passion in helping men and couples, but helping men to be able to get a hold of peace and start to say, wow, I can start to walk in this. Like the way you ever see The Matrix?
Yes.
It's like this moment, the moment with Neo when he was getting those bullets shot at him, right? The whole movie, they're running from these agents. The whole movie, they're scared of these big, powerful agents.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally realizes, like, wait a minute, I don't have to
I don't
think
have to.
this way. I don't be
Yep.
scared. And he's
Mm-hmm.
able to turn to them. That is essentially the gift I want to give to the world of like,
Wow.
wow, this is who you are. This is how God made you to be. This is your birthright. Now live that way.
Basically giving their life in their hands, like, now you have it,
Yes.
you control it now,
Yes.
not your situations, not your past.
Yes.
Oh wow,
Yes.
that's great. That brings me to my next question. So one more study says that 67% of the young adults are reporting that they feel lonely.
Mm.
They don't know what's happening. They, even though they are connected digitally with like thousands of friends, followers on Facebook or Instagram, but once they are at home in their house, they feel like, I don't have any friends, I don't know what to do, I don't have anyone to talk to, like openly talk to.
It's such a paradox, right? I mean, I talk about this with my clients, and I have kids, and we speak about this because with all of the ways that people can be connected, young people are more disconnected now than ever.
Correct.
I mean, we went on a trip, a family trip, and I was thinking when I was a kid and I went on a vacation. Whoever I met there, if I went away, went on a cruise, I was never going to see those kids again. Maybe I
Mm.
have to write a letter to them. There was no internet that was being used like the way we use it now. It was like
Right,
you don't see them anymore. That's it. You could write a letter, you could be a pen pal. And the way that people are able to be connected, and yet in the midst of that, depression is at all time high, anxiety is at all time high, and loneliness is a real theme. And loneliness has nothing to do with people. You can be lonely with people around you.
right.
You could be in relationships and be lonely. You
That.
can be in a crowded house and be lonely.
Hmm.
Okay. But they all point back to self,
Right,
because who you're becoming is that's the biggest. If I, who am I and who am I becoming? And finding my identity in other people and what other people are doing or what other people say about me, it doesn't cut it. And that's what it is like I'm finding my identity in how quickly someone read my message, how quickly someone responded to me, or who's available, or who's so. And they're not learning to like themselves.
right,
I like who I am. When I get up in the mirror, I like who I see. I can look and say I've accomplished this, I've learned this, I'm becoming someone better. And even if you're listening, if you don't know or have a trajectory of how who you want to become, it's easy to let the world, the anxiety, the depression just eat at you. But you start to say, I have a goal. I want to learn how to play this song, the piano. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to achieve this. And then you achieve it and you're like, oh my gosh, I like that. I like that I did that.
yep,
It's like a drug and you keep going, you achieve.
exactly.
Okay. But when everything is so instant and you get the DoorDash and food is instant here,
Easy.
it's easy, the connections are easy, then you just kind of drugged and you're not even thinking about that anymore. You just all the amenities of life you're living in, but you're unhappy because you stopped growing and becoming something. So I see that connection for that loneliness. It's like I just feel like I have all these people around me, all these ways to be connected, but I don't feel known. But it's really, I don't, it's how I feel about myself.
Exactly. It's like people needing constant validation from the outside.
Exactly.
It's like they are not thinking like, okay, I am this way. I live like this. I am
Hmm.
me. That's what makes the people they like the
Yeah.
uniqueness. If you're always trying to mimic someone, copy someone, try to do some what's already someone is doing, that's not you anymore.
Yeah.
You're like duplicate of someone else, and that doesn't make any sense. And you are lost in the herd.
Hmm.
You're not the person who is like someone unique that people would like, oh, look at, okay, he's something different, that seems interesting. But now everyone is like a herd, sheep of herd, like in the same skin, that even though they are not, they try to be that, pretending that. And with those pretense and efforts they're putting in that pretense, they seek constant validation, saying that, okay, I'm doing all these things, is someone looking at me, is
Yeah.
someone acknowledging me?
Yeah.
That's a very big thing right now.
That's really good and very insightful because needing validation signals I don't have it. I don't have it. I can't have it until someone else says I can. And what the real issue is lack. And a lot of people are living in a lack mindset, a scarcity mindset. I don't have, I'm not. And they're trying to cover that up with a lot of tasks, social media, technology, success, money, but they haven't yet. They're still in this mindset of I'm inadequate. I don't. They don't like who they are. We keep coming back to that theme. It comes right back to it, and when that's not fixed, it doesn't matter. Now, ironically, people who get this and people who become very productive
Hmm.
in this mindset, you'll notice they often are alone. They often are not among a lot of people.
Yeah.
They have a very small group, if any group at any, because it's just, you just think a lot of people who are very, very, very successful in very small circles.
Very.
Okay. Maybe one or two. And, they're not lonely. It can be a lonely place, but they don't have loneliness.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, these are all, they're all overlapping. I think more than ever, people are wanting to wake up and say, what can I be? What do I want to become? And I want to, there's this expression they use now, touch grass.
That's
You ever
great.
heard this expression before? They
I've
say,
heard that in
yeah,
public
because
places.
everybody's so used to being on the computer and online. It's like, go out and touch grass. Go
uh,
outside of the video game, playing it all day. And like, because that's how people are living their lives. They're just living it by virtually watching other people and listening to other people.
mhm.
And people are want to come out and say, like, I want to, there's more to life.
Yep.
There, yeah.
It's like they're constantly filling the void
Mm-hmm.
that never existed.
Yeah.
They can do things. They can go sit in a coffee shop, talk to a real person,
Yeah.
rather than they like go to a drive-through in a drunken or like a Starbucks, get the coffee and
Mm-hmm.
get to the same things that they are doing. They're like constantly feeling that doom scrolling,
Yeah.
social media, watching motivational videos, but not getting so motivated because it's as you said, it's like a drug that you get. But now with all the social media and digital out there, it's like the drug is keep getting given to you. You don't
Yeah.
need it. It's like excess now, so you are
Yeah.
like the tolerance keep rising. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
You need more and more, more and more every day.
And it's never enough. Yeah. Need more and more. I mean, it's, but again, once people see it, you start to really talk to people about this phenomenon of belief and the power of faith and imagination and then aligning based on what you see. It's quite fascinating. I mean, everything you see in this room existed in somebody's mind first.
Correct.
Everything we see existed in someone's mind first.
Hmm.
And they had to believe in that thing more than anybody else. They had to believe before anyone else saw for it to happen.
Correct.
Okay.
Hmm.
You know, your success, and people look and say, why is he, this channel is blown? What, maybe he just got lucky, or maybe he did. He saw this when no one else was seeing it the same way. You saw this.
Hmm.
Okay.
Right.
And that's a power that we all have, and we all get this kind of like inoculation to it with the more entertainment. It's like, there's a scripture. I know I quote a lot of scripture, but there's a Bible verse that said, whoever loves pleasure is dead while they live.
Wow. Well, that's so deep.
Whoever loves pleasure is dead while they live. Something about instantaneous pleasure, instant gratification, it dulls you. It just dulls us. The more and more people have of it, it just dulls that creation, that imagination, and then aligning and living that out, it just dulls that. And I think what you're describing with the loneliness, I think what you're describing with the young people, there's just so much instantaneous pleasure that's
Right.
available,
I agree.
and it's dulling this unique, powerful, amazing ability we have as a human being to imagine something and then to speak it. You know,
Right.
what makes us unique. My dog. I love my dog. She probably wants to come down here in this interview and hug you right now. She could, but as amazing as she is, she cannot speak. She can't speak out what's going to happen in her life. She can't say this is going to change. This needs to, she can't do
She
that,
can do that.
right? We have this ability to imagine something and say, yeah, I'm going to do this one day. This is going to change. This is done now in my life. Very powerful ability we have. But when we take the dose of entertainment over and over, not that entertainment's bad. I'm not saying all
Hmm.
entertainment's bad. But once we just become so like everything's fast and immediate and accessible, and that there's no more imagination,
Hmm.
and it's just,
Right, right. So yeah, that brings me to my next
yeah,
question. So what do you think about this fear of missing out at the trend that's going on? Because as we are talking, the people are consuming so much entertainment, so much outside digital world and social media and stuff, that fear of missing out because they are seeing everyone doing all those things that they wanted to do,
yeah,
or they think they wanted to do. Now they are like, okay, now if I don't do that, I'll miss out. I want to be included. I want to be doing that. I want to show people that I am doing that. I want to see other people. I want to make like show other people that I am doing these things. So they think that I'm a good, like living a good life kind of thing. So what do you want to say about that?
yeah. I mean, it makes sense now because we can see so much more the life that people are living around us through social media. It can give a distorted view that people are all happy. And the truth is, I think that's what people want. People want peace. Remember,
Right.
everybody wants peace,
Everybody want peace,
but
correct.
they're trying to get it in ways that don't bring peace.
Mm-hmm.
So they look and they think, wow, look at this person and their life, and look how this is going. They must be so happy, or there's this party going on, and like they're imagining everybody's happy and having a good time while I'm just here not doing anything. They imagine that everyone has peace except them. But
Mm-hmm.
the truth is that a lot of people don't have peace, and everyone's just trying to find distractions and self-medicate a
Mm-hmm.
life that doesn't feel like has peace at all.
Yep,
So all those
exactly.
people at the party, they don't have peace either. They're just trying to everybody's just trying to self-medicate because they haven't figured out what it is. How do I get peace?
Right.
You know, they're avoiding suffering, they're avoiding hardship, and just going towards what's easy and convenient. And that's actually what's making them dead. Whoever loves pleasure is dead while they live.
Wow.
When it's like, no, that's the thing that's actually killing you. Go do something difficult till it becomes easy.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do it again. Several years ago, I was about 130 pounds overweight.
Oh wow.
And I remember when I would try to do, you probably can't see here, but I used to have, up until maybe a couple of weeks ago, I had a pull up bar here. I had a station here, and I always kept it here because it was a picture of the work I do, like working on self. Okay. But I remember even before the pull up bar, just doing a push up, I couldn't do a push up. I had to put my knees to the floor and do a push up. And
Yeah, assisted push-up. Yep.
even then, I couldn't really do the push up that well.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
Well over 300 pounds. And I remember what that felt like. I remember hating it. I remember that I knew that I wanted to be there to walk my kids down the aisle, that I'm called to be the healthiest version of myself. And the same thing I talk about applying, I had to apply there. And push-ups are, do handstand push-ups
Mm-hmm.
now, and when I do them, I remember when I couldn't even do a regular push up, you know, doing pull up. We walked up here, there's the rings outside. I have the rings that I do my pull ups on and do my stuff. Couldn't had to use a bar stool to do pull ups. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't fully do them. And the point I'm mentioning is the level of joy and peace that come. Nobody can take that from me, right? You can't take that from somebody. Someone can kill you, but all intents and purposes, nobody can fire me from that. Nobody can speak something bad and not make me be able to remember that I couldn't do a push up and now I can do them upside down. When we do something that's difficult and then it becomes easy and then we challenge ourselves to do something else and we watch ourselves grow, that's addictive too.
Yes, it is. Yes.
That's why people love video games. Because video games, you start and your character is crap. Your character has no abilities, they suck, right? But they love leveling them up.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man, like look what I can do. Like now I got this weapon and this weapon can. And they don't just give you the weapon. The weapon is like diminished. You got to earn it to get more, unlock more features of the
Correct.
weapon. And
Correct.
then you get this skill, but you get like a diminished part of that skill, and then you gotta, and it's addictive.
It's
But you turn the game off, and none of that carries over.
well, it's not. I don't see people how people don't apply the same thing in their life. Like they are playing with a virtual character. Why don't they apply same on their identity? It's like, how should I say, like, as we were talking about, people are comparing the highlight reel of someone to their reality, not knowing that the background of that camera, people are the same.
Yes.
They are trying to push forward, trying to do things, trying to put themselves out
Now
there.
that's a good question. Why don't people make that connection? That's an excellent question. Let me tell you why they don't make that connection. Because we are conditioned not to make that connection. We are conditioned to live off somebody else's agenda for us all day long. All day long, we march to the beats of someone else's vision. When you're in school, it's the teacher's vision of what are you doing in second grade, third grade, fourth grade? What's the curriculum that I'm giving to you? Okay, we're used to doing what's handed down to us, and then we graduate from school and we get a job, and we're used to living for some other person's vision, the CEO's vision, the manager, the supervisor's vision for what people ought to be doing. We're used to not coming up with our own vision and working towards it. We're used to just living it out, and it's like a form of slavery. I mean, I know it's a
Hmm.
strong word, and so whenever we get a chance to have entertainment that's easy, let's give me an entertainment that's easy. Let me just zone out. Let me veg out.
Right,
Okay.
right, exactly. That's what's happening.
And we lose that. We don't realize, no, you have a vision. You have the ability to say, what do I want to learn? What do I want to do? What do I want to master? I mean, the stuff they had us learning in school, like, who cares about, like, no offense to Pythagoras and the Pythagorean theorem. I mean, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
But how has any, no one uses that, but it was important for
It,
them to teach us that.
hmm.
It was important for them to teach us about sedimentary rocks and igneous rocks. Why? Because it was somebody else's agenda.
Correct.
So we're used to responding to someone else's agenda. We're used to using all of our creative power to do what someone else tells us to do.
Yep, exactly. Like in school, you worry about grades. Grade would be the one that's you're getting your identity. If you're A grade, okay,
Yes.
people are like these are the smart guys. If you are like B,
Mm-hmm.
C, D, they're like okay, these are not. They're not gonna do anything with their life, kind of thing. You're already marked down, like
Yes.
labeled,
Yes.
and it
You're
keeps on
conditioned.
growing.
Yes.
Yes, condition, as you
That
said.
A is represents what? That A means I did what someone else told me to do really well.
Hmm.
But
Exactly.
who's grading what you decide to do? What if they said, "What's your goal by the end of the year?
No one's
Let's
gonna
see
ask
if you
that.
meet that goal."
Hmm.
That's your A. Imagine
Exactly.
if that happened, right? We're not conditioned to think that way, and so
Wow.
it's a rare few who start to have that mindset, like what you do, your mind, you know, looking and saying, "No, this is my view. No, someone didn't tell me this. It wasn't someone over me and said you need to do interviews or you need to counsel and coach or you."
Right.
No.
Yep. It's my vision and my want and my goal.
And your subscriber base, your fan, your response, that is like your report card, and you feel good about it.
Hmm.
It's not like, oh, I gotta get it. It's like, no, I want to make them happy. I want to give them, you care so much about, the people listening. Like, I want them to understand that this is available to them. You care about them. No one's making you do that.
Yep. Yep.
It's your vision. So
Correct.
back to that word vision. And so you're not being forced, but that wasn't learned. And that's why, we it has to, it's not injected into society, and so I think that's why we're here, and I think it's good what you're doing because people get to see
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
available.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's available if you want it.
And that's what I'm trying to put it out there. It's like, as I said, like everyone has some wisdom to share.
Mm,
Not many people know that these kind of people exist, these kind of wisdom exists
yeah.
until I put it out there. Hopefully my user base like sees that, and if that helps to at least one person, I'll be the happiest person.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
that's what my goal is.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
what my next question would be like, what do you think about this online dating and attachment issues?
Oh my gosh. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit.
Hmm.
Sometimes I tell my couples, I'm like, now I'm from obviously from a generation where we there wasn't any online dating, okay? And I find now a lot of people struggle with how to talk, approach people, and have a real conversation with them that's not virtual, that's not online. They
Hmm.
struggle with that.
Right.
Okay. So that's one obvious thing from it is really being able to say, I like this person. Let me go approach them in real time and be able to have a conversation with them and be okay. Okay. That's something I see hugely lacking. But the
Yes.
real thing the people come to me in couples and I tell them my frustration with online dating is the assumption is if two people have something in common, if they find each other attractive, if they enjoy activities together, then it's probably going to work out.
Mm.
Okay. But the ability to determine whether a relationship is going to work out is far more easier than that. And it comes down to how well you can handle being offended, how well you can handle conflict. A lot of times, what I find with the online dating is yes, it's good that people can find things about them that they like. But the biggest issue is how does my partner, how does this person act when they don't get their way, when they feel slighted, when they feel offended? Because all of those things that you have in common don't mean crap if you are having a 1 week war
Yeah.
that gets worse and worse.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And so, what's really important when people are dating, get to know each other, is their ability to be regulated. How do they handle stress? Silly as it sounds,
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
is the big thing that brings people here. They don't handle stress. How do you handle the stress of we have kids and we don't have time for sex anymore? How do you handle the stress that you're not attracted to each other the same way anymore? How do you handle the stress of I like these things to be organized a certain way, you like this to be organized another way? How do you negotiate that? How do you negotiate when your style of communication? I'm more direct. I'm somebody that needs a little bit of time and I need more energy to think about what I want to say. How do we negotiate just leisure? I'm someone that's more homebody. You're someone that's more out there. How do we talk about that without getting triggered? It isn't
Okay.
we need everything to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
I need to find someone who's an introvert like me, an extrovert like me. No, no, no.
No.
When you have conflict, because you will, how can you deal with that?
Wow.
If you can, if that's the skill, that muscle gets built up. Doesn't matter if you're different. Doesn't matter if you have differences. You can work through them.
Correct.
So you say, well, let's have as much thing as possible, so that way, okay, you can have everything the same. I mean, and you just look at celebrities. You know, they're married other celebrities. They're all successful. They all look great. They all, their families are relatively similar. Okay, all, but they don't last long. Why? Because this thing. How do you handle difficulty in relationships? Not necessarily life, but in relationships. Because sometimes people can be mature on their own, but when they get into a relationship, they have the maturity of like a 5-year-old or a
Okay.
7-year-old. They don't do well with that. On
Mm-hmm.
their own, they may be very wise, very mature. But you put them in a relationship and they regress in their age back to like preteen years. They never grew that.
Okay.
So when they're coming to me, they're learning, how do I grow up and be okay with my partner not being okay?
Mm.
How do
Mm.
I deal with the fact that, here's the biggest thing that, I tell my couples to really embrace is, just because you're offended doesn't mean you were wronged. Okay. That's a big thing.
Yep.
Well, I came home and nobody said hi to me. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you were wronged. You may be offended by that. You might have had expectations,
Yep.
but now you're going to start to interact as though you were wrong. Now you're broadcasting all this stuff. Now there's a fight that happens. Instead of saying, you know what, that's okay. They were probably doing something. I would have liked that, but that's all right.
Right.
Just something simple, an example like that. So that's I like the fact that there's a way through online dating for people to, in a busy world, meet people. But it gets reinforced that you think, well, just because I met this person and we have all these things in common, I like them, and okay, it's good, and I still need to be working on, how do I handle distress,
Mm-hmm.
and
The
how does this person
real
handle it?
thing.
That's the real thing. That is the real thing, man. So it's fine. I'm cool with I mean, people online date. That's totally great. I mean, I'd love for people to be able to have conversations, because communications is important.
Yep.
And again, it comes back to relationship. How do you communicate when you're upset? How do you communicate when you're disappointed with your expectations? If you can't do that, it won't work.
Let's close this. So one, we have covered a lot of things and we have learned what you do and how you help people. So what do you think, like, a person looking at this video right now could change their life with small steps
I would
if he's like
say,
somewhere he couldn't reach you? Those kind of, for those kind of
I would
people.
say, write down, envision what you want your life to be 6 months from a year to now. Write it down. What do you, how much weight do you want to lose or gain? Who do you want to be with? What do you want for your life? Write it down. Some people call it having a vision board.
Mhm.
Okay. Believe that vision board and start to take the tiniest, smallest steps towards that. Okay.
Okay.
And as the person does, things will begin to open up. That would be, if I had to say the smallest thing, I would say, write down. You should know. If I ask you, what do you want from a year from now, 5 years from now? You should be able to answer that question. How much money do you think you're going to be making? What are you going to look like? All of those things. Get that comfortable, get that solidified, and then begin to slowly, not drastically, not a big change, just a tiny step towards that.